Fam, what's up? Welcome back to the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Another special episode of the Mindset Monday series with my co-host, Justin Thorstad.
Thank you. Golf clap.
Yeah?
All right,
Yeah?
I'll take it. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sound effects getting better? No? Maybe?
Eh.
All right, you know what? Whatever. Put a lot of thought and effort into
dude. I know it.
a lot of
You
thought and
make it
effort
up on
into
the
that
spot,
kind of
whatever
stuff, and
pops in.
you're taking away my magic right now. So
Oh, my bad, bro.
All right, so let's talk about. This is a really good quote, and this is Justin. Like, Justin has his moments. For those who don't know him, he's a very smart person. I don't care what anybody else thinks.
Right.
The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. All right. That is so true. Right before we clicked record on the podcast, on the live, I was mentioning that a lot of times we go through the process of visualizing. We go through the process of looking, for this ideal self, this ideal life, this life of bliss, right? And in that pursuit, visualizing almost becomes like wishful thinking. Because there's a lot of stuff that gets in the way, which is gonna get in the way as we go through the process of growth, that makes us avoid actions that we don't want to take. Having difficult conversations, moving the needle on stuff, getting outside that comfort zone, right? It's incredible to me, but it's really one of the biggest things that I see hindering and just putting a dead stop on people's dreams.
100%. And it's funny too, because and you can relate to this, like, out of all the people you coach, it's like only the committed few actually get it. But the issue is that everybody wants bigger, better, different, right?
Yeah.
Something or some things in their life to
Bigger,
improve.
better, different.
Bigger, better, or different. And so, we give people a process to follow. And first of all, what is it exactly you want? Like, you got to get some clarity on that, get a clear intention. But the other piece of that is, what are the elevated emotions you would experience when you achieve that thing or obtain it, or it comes to be made manifest, like when you have the experience. And people say, well, I don't know what that would feel like, or maybe they do and they just want the end result. It's like, who do you got to be in such a way that drives a behavior that would be conducive and in alignment with that which you desire to have? And if you don't connect to the emotion of already having it, man, it's like when you get to clear intention, that's just a thought, right?
Yeah.
It's just a pulse of electricity between two neurons causing a spark. Okay, so you're putting it out there. Well, what's drawing it back to you? And it is those elevated emotions that you would experience if you had it. And so, like, people want things because they think, when I get it, then I'm going to feel. And I'm
going to feel and I'm going to be worthy of that.
What? Sorry?
I'm going to feel and I'm going to be worthy of that.
Yeah, once I get it, now I have evidence that I'm deserving, capable enough, or whatever it is. It's like, well, first of all, what has you think that you're already not? But because if you don't already feel those things and you get that, it's not going to be enough to fulfill you. Think about it. If I don't think I'm worthy, if I don't think I'm deserving, if I'm not enough just the way I am right now, and I get an external win, a victory, it's going to come in. And how long does it really last? Really? Like, the newness wears off real quick.
And that's the thing, man. Like, it doesn't last, right? Like,
no.
We've talked about in previous episodes, we've talked about looking for the drive and for the willingness and the excitement of just life in general, from an internal standpoint, like looking within yourself to see what sparks you up every morning, and what is that thing that keeps going and going and going, doesn't fade out whenever you reach a I don't know, a financial check mark, or or I don't know, you bought the new car, you bought the new house, you got like all that stuff. I mean, it's good to drive you places, but once you get there, like you have to kind of like get a fix for something else, right? To keep that motivation up, to keep that motivation going.
It's not a long-term sustainable strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think the what I've seen this, across the board, right? Like super successful entrepreneurs to people who are just getting into the space of betting on themselves and getting out of their comfort zone, right? At the end of the day, we're all looking for magic. It's incredible. But the best for me, the best way to explain something that I don't understand, and it's a wonderful thing, it's magic.
Well, that takes a
I tell that
degree-
to my kids. It's
Yeah.
magic.
Well, and maybe it is, right? And so people they'll say that's too abstract, it's too woo woo,
Yeah.
it's not tangible. And it's like, it's called faith, man.
Yeah.
Like to just believe that there's something else at hand here that you can work with and co-create
Right.
with. And so I just think that, like, back to what you said about, going for the car, going for the this, going for that, the reason it's not a sustainable long-term strategy is because, again, when you get it and it comes in like, oh, it feels good, I did it, finally. But then it's like a bottomless void. It's like a hungry ghost. It comes in, it just falls through. And there'll never be enough external to fill that void. And so the question becomes not what else can I shoot for now, but why the void? Like, I think that so many people are, living for hitting that next accomplishment or getting that next thing or waiting for Friday. And it's like, man, if you're waiting for Friday so that you can, like, have fun, your shit's broken. In my book, you know what I mean?
Either that or there's a lack of awareness.
Well, yeah, and the awareness is this, like you just alluded to. It's like, if you don't have something that when you wake up in the morning, you become conscious before your alarm clock, and you're not excited to come out of, like, jump out of bed for another day, your shit's broken, man. Because really now you got to force yourself to get out of bed. You got to force yourself to show up and do things, and then wondering how come you're not successful. It's like
you're pushing the cart as opposed to being pulled by the horse carriage.
Totally.
We started with a quote, right? The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. I think it's so true. It's a lot of times we look for things to bring magic to us, or a dopamine rush, a win. We're fixated on these, like, things that seem like they're gonna be wins, right? But at the end of the day, they're just fixes, they're hits. And it's good, right? So it's good to have those. Don't get me wrong, it's good to have those. But when you go, a couple of layers deep into what you're really looking for as a human being, like the understanding of yourself gets a lot more complex. And it's interesting, but a lot of times we look for magic and success and thrive and just feeling of joy and blissfulness and happiness in general, right? Yet we're avoiding tough conversations. We're avoiding tough decisions. We're avoiding getting out of that comfort zone, taking that risk, taking that leap, right? Putting in the work. Why? Because I don't know. There's mundane things around us, that just cause distractions, and it's so easy to get distracted sometimes, right? If we don't have a good grip on that person that we're looking to become, on that magic that we're trying to create, and it really is. It really is. I mean, another way of saying it is, it's. Are you afraid of taking the bull by the horns, right?
Yeah. Well, people that find themselves distracted or procrastinate, it's simple. You simply don't have the two required elements to be successful: focus and concentration. Like, it's required.
What about willpower?
I think willpower. Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you had a passion to create something, and the simple act of you getting out of bed and going to pursue it was the reward in and of itself, just the simple journey was the fulfillment, and you like derived happiness from that, would you need willpower?
I think that is a willpower.
Perhaps. So it depends on the definition, right?
Right.
So, like, willpower can be an excellent resource when you got to get into action.
It can also be it can be manufactured by the vision you're after.
100%. So it's more like enthusiasm. It's from within. Enthusiasm. You know what I mean? Spirit within.
I've literally had the conversation with people, and I want to do this, and I know I have the talent, I have the skill set, I have the time and everything, but then when I'm about to get rolling, I just sit there and I don't do anything. I sit on the couch and I watch TV. I don't know why.
Don't put him in front of me. I'll punch him in the face.
I don't know why. Well, yeah.
Because here's the thing. There's people. So that person right there, right?
Yeah.
There's people that have less talent than him, less skill set than him, and they're creating massive results that he desires. Who said skill set and talent is even a requirement?
Yeah.
It takes a clear intention of the end result, married with elevated emotions, and just get your ass moving down the road. And if you're like, well, I don't know what to do, what's the next best thing you can think of? Just one thing. You know what I mean? And the next will unfold. Like, you don't have to have this 100-step action plan in order to be successful, because what you think it's going to take, you're dead ass wrong. And it always takes longer than you anticipated and way more effort. And it's like, so why are you going after the thing just for the end result? Meanwhile, you're suffering the entire time. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
If you're planning on something, and this is, I don't know, this is my take on things. Take it or leave it, prove me wrong, I don't care. But if you're planning on something, you haven't done it before, and you're leaping into something else, right? Just make up your mind that you're gonna have to add another 10 levels of difficulty to whatever your plan is. It's part of the fucking model.
Well, it's required.
Really is. It creates, I don't know, it creates thicker skin. It gives you backbone. It just helps you become a better person that's going to be able to put up with a lot of the challenges that come down the road.
100%. Like, you've got to go through this process in order to develop the version of you required to have the capacity, the persistence, the tenacity, like the no quit attitude, like to handle the success when you arrive.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to get developed along the way. And if there's no trials and tribulations, what is there for you to grow from? Like, success is a shitty teacher, man. When I hit a grand slam and
it feels really good.
It does.
But it's a shitty team.
Yeah, it is. And then
because you think you know it all.
Yeah. The ego takes over and like, I did that, right?
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you get knocked upside the head and you know, knocked down a few notches, and it's like, no, you missed it.
On a side note, man, on success, okay? A couple years back, our industry was going through a very, very, I don't know, like cushiony, phase. Wholesaling and real estate investment. I mean, you'd get something, you could lock it up high, and then you'd sell it. People would buy it off. Just it's crazy. All right, so there was a lot more people doing wholesaling. Success, right? Success. And as soon as things started to adjust and made more sense.
I love it
on the market. Like, you see a lot of that. Same people just fall off the wagon and they cut it out, go back to 9-to-5s and that sort of thing. Again, success is not the best. It's not the best teacher.
No.
Those who stuck through it, and gave it time to understand their craft and get in it, actually do the stuff that the average won't do. Right? They were not avoiding growth. They were not avoiding being uncomfortable. They were not avoiding risk. They were not avoiding betting on themselves or pointing fingers as to why I can't do this shit right now. A lot of these people are creating magic right now because you really do see them thrive. Yeah. And I mean, those stories are I mean, it really thins out the crowd when adversity happens, right? But I love it because it also, it builds character, and it just, it turns you into a different beast, man.
Well, think of it this way, yeah. So when that market's great and everyone's making money, which isn't true, but let's say hypothetically, right? And then the market shifts and people are losing a lot. Like, where does that wealth go? It doesn't disappear. It's not deleted. It just transfers to somebody else. And so the people that stick with it, that do the work internally, right, so that you can externally, like, man, that's where the gold is. Because then when they persevere and they persist, and then they come through and the market shifts again and things are more abundant, they get to look back and go, what worked, what didn't work. Yeah. Next time this happens, and there will be a next time because that's what markets do. They're cyclical, Cycles. Right? Yeah. They're going to be better positioned to know how to take advantage of that transfer of wealth. And when they see the indicators, they'll position themselves and they'll thrive in the next shift. Like, that's just how it always goes. Yeah. Successful people know that. And it doesn't matter if we're talking wholesaling or realtor or any industry, where there's markets. It's cyclical. And then you just, man, I love it when a massive disruption happens and the market shifts suddenly, because it usually does. But it's like, there's indicators, though. And if you're paying attention to your craft and you're on top of things, like, you see it way before anybody else.
So pay attention to the craft. That is one thing. Pay attention to yourself. Anytime something happens and it's not planned, and it's a challenge, it's a conflict, it's a banana peel. My algebra teacher used to call them banana peels. Like, most problems happen because somebody slipped on a banana peel. Like, something simple, something we weren't accounting for, and it just happened, and then you broke a leg.
Attention or didn't know. Yeah.
So just be aware of how you react to that situation. Be aware if you're afraid and trying to run away from it and go back to your comfort zone, or if you're getting creative and thinking about solutions as to how to get around it, as to how to capitalize on opportunity. Because really, that's where it's at. Isn't it crazy that some people get super excited about cycles of difficulty because they're not going to crush it, right? They just have a different. It's a different thought process. It's not that they have,
more talent or skill set.
Exactly. It doesn't necessarily have to be that, right?
No.
They reach out to people who have the talent or skills, but they have the ability to adapt their thinking, towards opportunity.
Yeah.
If your first thought is to run away and hide, it's gonna be really tough to make it as an entrepreneur, and it's gonna be really hard to do the stuff that you're avoiding to do.
Yeah, exactly. I'll say it this way. Like, one thing that I love about myself, and I used to think it was a flaw, is that I feel like I'm not smart enough to figure it out. Like, I don't have the skill set. I don't have the talent to go start this business. And I don't know anything about the industry.
Yeah.
And while people are thinking about their business plan and SWOT analysis and doing all this stuff, and I'm not saying there's some utilitarian value to some of that. What I am saying is, while they're sitting and planning and predicting and forecasting, I'm already moving down the road because I understand that I'm insufficient in some ways. Do you know what I mean? And I always will be with a new venture. Something
I would challenge the word insufficient.
Well, I'm gonna say insufficient in regards to skill set of a particular field that I've never experienced before. For example, like I was just talking to that dude who mentioned solar. I'm like, what? Because I own a solar company. I don't know anything about solar, but I don't need to because I surround myself with people that do know about it, that are proficient and sufficient, right? And my point is this: like, I'm gonna keep going, and when I make mistakes, man, instead of beat up, which most people do, I'm going to say to gratitude.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because now I just learned something. And if I'm not always learning, then I'm going to get stale and stagnant and decay, right?
Yeah.
Like, you've always got to be learning. Otherwise, you'll arrive at a place where you thought you made it, and, like, you're not growing. Like, people love their comfort zone. They want to feel safe and comfortable. And it's like, if you think about it, you have that comfort zone for a very specific reason. It's because you have experiences that have shown you that it's safe. And if you're always operating from what you've already known and what you've already experienced, why are you thinking that there should be something different in your future? Like, you're operating from memories of the past, which means it's old information. And so the only way to grow and win at a high level, or just build more relationships or higher quality of life, is to step outside that. And the reason people don't, it's very simple. The avoidance, the deflection, the I'm distracted or I'm not clear is because they're avoiding a false story that they think is going to be real. We call it fear. False evidence appearing real. It's a bullshit story that they made up that's keeping them from experiencing pain. But I'm going to tell you something. There's far greater pain that you would experience by not stepping out and staying the same, because you already know what you can predict and plan for, because we're predictable. Like, nothing's going to change. And that should be more painful than the risk of stepping out. Because, like, you can look at it as a risk, like I might lose, but why not focus on what you might win, what you might gain, the knowledge, the education, the relationships, the money, all of it.
Isn't also I mean, it's literally the definition of lunacy. Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is.
It is.
Literally.
So I feel dreaming and visualizing. That's easy to do. Everybody jumps on that bandwagon. I mean, I see it all the time. Everybody, sits there and then gets into a state of wishful thinking. And I call it wishful thinking until the first action is taken, right? But a state of wishful thinking and dreaming, and then, I want to manifest this way. I want to manifest, that way. And then they sit there 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, exactly in the same spot. Nothing happened. I saw it. I put it on my vision board. I did this. I did that. It's never, it's never come to life. I guarantee you there has been opportunities that came along the way of whatever you were envisioning, and the action wasn't taken.
Yeah.
I love that fable where there's a guy that's drowning, and then he's screaming out at the sky and like, save me,
God help me.
Yeah, God help me. And then a log passes by, it doesn't jump on it, and then something else passes by, it doesn't jump on it, something else, and then finally says, why do you forsake me? Why do you kill me and make me drown? I was like, dude, I sent you 3 things that you could have jumped on. You didn't take a single opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where that avoidance comes in, that creative avoidance. And we'll put it back on family, man. It's so unfair. It's so unfair. It really is. Think about that. If you have family out It's so unfair to put creative avoidance back on your family, back on your. I can't do it because I have a family. I can't do it because I have kids. I can't do it because I have a wife. I can't do it because I have this, and that. Because I have games. Because I gotta be like, fuck that, man. The reality is that you have to do it because of that.
Exactly.
It really is.
It's just
you have to do it
script.
because of that. Why? Because you're in that same cycle, and the reason that you're thinking about that magic that you want to create, and you haven't done it, is because of that same situation.
You know,
so why use that? I mean, that triggers me, as you can tell. But why use that as an excuse, right? For creative avoidance. Why use that as an excuse to not take the first step and get rid of your bullshit and start doing some action?
Easy. You know who suffers from this a lot actually is moms. I can't because the kids. I'm not able to because of that. Da, 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 da. It's like, don't you think that because of your kids is the very reason why you should? Because think about it. If they're, depending upon age, right?
You find a way. Like there's
well, totally.
There's always there has to be a way to find some.
You're demonstrating to those young minds what it means to be like a sovereign being of like, I decide and I can take action. Like you're demonstrating. You're setting the example of what it means to be a woman as a single mom, let's say. And if you have sons, like that's the version of the woman that they're going to marry. That's how you show up. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's all on the line. And it's not I can't because, it's I should because. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's so much on the line that it's ridiculous. And so when people come at me with a cool story about why I'm not able to, like, like maybe you can sell that bullshit to your friends, but don't waste your time. Like, because you know it's not true. And anytime somebody is pointing the finger at anything, and I mean anything external, the market, your honey, your kids, your whatever, your lack of talent, your lack of skill set, like you're just given an excuse so you don't have to be responsible and take action. Period. End of story.
Creative avoidance, man. There's magic all around us. There really is. There's opportunities all over the place. 5 years ago, about 5-6 years ago, I was going over my my thoughts, and I have an I am statement, which through the years it's gotten longer and longer and longer. I am meaning, I am, this being, right? And that's where I drop any visualizations I have, any plans I have for the future. It's kind of like my vision board in writing. But it's an I am, and it goes long, and it goes on and on and on. And then I'll drop pictures in there and all that stuff. I have it on my phone because it's just easy for me to whip it out and then go through the statements and remind myself why I'm doing all kinds of crazy shit, right? So I'm going through this last week, and literally it's on my phone, and I have last week I pulled another quote from my phone. So it's in there. It's in the same space, but it's saying my the TPG, the Pulse Group, is in the heart of downtown Phoenix. It's a warehouse style place where you walk in and there's creativity, there's deals happening, there's exchange of ideas and mindsets and all kinds of stuff. That's exactly where I'm sitting right now, right? And it didn't happen because I did it all together. Like, I'm in a partnership, right? But you just don't know how the thing is going to manifest. But
do you really care to know how?
No, I mean, last Thursday, man, we had an incredible event here. And it's like, that was a vision realized. It really was. Like, that was the night the thing kicked off. So
did that.
When we're looking for magic, man, I think I had a lot to do with it. And it is a collective, though. It's
yes, but somebody had to start off the sequence.
Energy.
Yes, the intent, the energy of the intent behind that is what caused the momentum for the pieces to come together. Like, at some point, we've got to take ownership of that, not from an egotistical, but I did that. Because without that energy of intent, it may have come together. It would have looked differently without my involvement, right? Yeah. But it's what I was holding. It's what I gave birth to. Yeah. And that's important, because then when you realize that you can manifest, you can create a thing, a situation, a circumstance, or whatever. Like, you can take a snapshot of that with your mind and body and like, it worked for that, which means it'll work for anything. So what do I desire now? Simply because I can. That would be a service to others. That like elevates humanity. It's a contribution.
It's really cool to absolutely 1,000%. It's really cool to get to a point where you're like now, and this may sound a little crazy, right? But it does go through my mind. I'll be visualizing something, and I'll be I don't know, in my head. And then the question that comes up is like, wow, do I really want it? Because I mean, it's not even if it happens. It's not even, because it's I've been proven. I've had proof of concept of manifestation so many times, thankfully, thank God, and it's it just changes the way that you see things.
Yeah.
The way that you okay, cool, like the power of manifestation is there. You have to take the actions. If I hadn't taken, if I would have stayed in my comfort zone, and I mean, I don't know, maybe I would have gotten here, but it would have taken me another 10, 15 years.
Maybe.
But it's the stuff that we're avoiding, is really what stops us from that magic. So we're thinking about, this is the ideal life that I want to live. This is my personal legend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then here's all the shit that I got to do. Like, oh, I want to be this personal legend. This is going to be so awesome. Oh, it's going to be amazing. I feel it. I see it. It's manifesting in my skin and my bones and everything. And I'm just going to chill here and then wait until my comfort zone gets bigger by itself.
Oh, yeah.
Because
this is
doesn't happen that
This
way.
is like critical for people to understand. So most people think that, okay, if I have this idea, this goal, I got to move this flesh puppet, this meat suit, through time and space in order to get it.
Yeah.
And I'm matter influencing matter. But the truth of the matter is, like you said, when you have an experience that you created a thing, that you cause it to be made manifest, yes?
Yeah.
Like that's evidence that you're a creator.
Yeah.
And if you can focus on that moment by moment, day by day, and then you keep setting the bar of like what you desire to create, and you're like, wait, is that truly what I desire? Because I'm going to give a lot of energy to it. But I didn't say action energy. Like there's two types of physics. There's the Newtonian law, right? And then there's quantum physics. And Newtonian law says that basically something external is going to cause an effect, or you got to have an action for a reaction to happen.
Right.
And like that's true. Like there's evidence to support that. But I can tell you, and you know this as well, that just by simply setting a clear intention and meditating on that, visualizing it, something has unfolded in front of you and there was no action. And so the more that you can stack evidence and you've got this pile of like, I'm a creator, you can start to develop that skill set or talent of a powerful creator where you will a thing into its manifestation with no action. Because if you think about it, it's like, here's the thing, the whole premise of this conversation was basically cause and effect. But people are waiting for something external to happen to cause an internal effect.
Right.
And what I'm saying is with quantum physics, like perhaps the internal cause affects the external. Maybe it does.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm not saying just set a clear intention, sit on your couch eating bonbons and Cheetos, and like, wealth and abundance is going to come to you. No. I'm saying you got to develop that faculty to the point where you understand it's actually a thing, even though it's intangible. You can't see it. You can't put your hand on it.
You got to become Neo from the Matrix. That's what you got to do.
I mean, to wake up and realize that you're not your mind, you're not your body.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, the Matrix and all that stuff. I think if you look at the structure of the movie, like the context of the movie, it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, we have to wake up to the reality that we can create the life that we want, right? We don't have to be tapped into this space that's already dictated. That's, we're victims in this space of just life and coasting through it, right? We can disconnect. We can take things or matters into our own hand with faith and perseverance and tenacity, right? We have to be tapped into our own selves to create any of that stuff. I like to call it magic, and I use that in regular conversations. By the way, like how that happened, like, I don't know, it was magic. It was magic. I believe in magic.
It makes it fun too.
That is my definition of magic. It's wonderful stuff that I don't understand how it happened. I mean, I have a gist of it. I'm suspicious on how it happened, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It's like it's hard to explain. Do I really want to try to elaborate and understand it? No, it's a beautiful thing. Just roll with it.
I love how you label it magic, because really,
it's magic.
At the end of the day, it's like, go ahead and attempt to explain how all these perfect situations came together in a sequence in such a way that got me what I desired. Like, I don't care how it happened. I just care that it happened.
Yeah.
So call it magic. You know what I mean? And it's like, but here's the difference. You, sir, myself, like, you build and because you generate and cultivate belief in such a way that your faith shall make it so.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
there's your will. You will it
100%.
into being. You know. So, and
Ask yourselves a question, right? Like, and you will find proof of concept here. It's not that far-fetched. Ask yourself, when was the last time I really thought or desired or wished for something, and then things started happening, and you know, I had an opportunity and I took it, actually took that step forward, and then it kind of unraveled into something else. I guarantee you that you're gonna find the answer in even the smallest, little things. And I don't know, running into somebody from, I don't know, when you were growing up, like, how does that happen randomly? It happens with me all the time. It's like, okay, I'll be thinking about somebody from back in high school or college or whatever, and then next thing you know, I get a message, or I run into, I'm like at a gas station in Gila Bend, which is a town in the middle of nowhere. Like it's like that's an example. It just happened like 3-4 weeks ago. Anyways, but it's like that kind of, think about it, right? So magic will come to you. It will be right there. We choose to ignore it all the time, though. We choose to call it a coincidence. We choose to call it like this is, I don't know, this happened because of this and that. No, it's fucking magic, all right? And it happened because it happened because you planted that seed somehow, some way. Now, you're going to plant that seed. You have to water that seed if anything is going to sprout from it, right? So when we're thinking about the changes that we want to make in life, the life that we want to live, everything, the possibilities all in general, right? None of that is going to happen if you get into your creative avoidance space. Ask yourself, what's stopping me from taking action? What am I actually avoiding? If I want to become a better person, if I want to contribute, give back to the world, help the hungry, help the homeless, help this, help that, who am I as an individual, right? Am I dealing with my own stuff so I can have my cup full and I can help others? Like, am I even there? That's the first thing, because you can't help anybody if you're not, if you can't help yourself, right? So take that context and apply it in every single aspect. You can't people with their financial well-being if you don't have your shit handled. You can't help people with their, their inner peace if you don't have your inner peace. You just can't, right? And the more we get into that avoidance space, the more we push away from that stuff while still having this desire to reach this big, magnificent, beautiful life that we're striving for. So that space of magic only happens if you cut out the stuff that you're avoiding.
Yeah, I love that, man. And just kind of bring it full circle of like the initial opening quote. You want to read that again right quick?
The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding.
Yeah. So another way that I love saying it is, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And so it's like, think about that. The cave that I don't want to go in because there's a dragon, right? And I could die. It's like, but if you go in there and you confront that and you realize that the dragon's really small, it's not formidable, and you slay it, now what? Do you know what I mean? It's like, and besides, maybe the story you made up about what's inside that cave, maybe you're full of shit, because you are. And what you find in there is your greatness.
Yeah.
Because of your willingness to move forward and confront it. And
100%.
Like, just be mindful of those fear stories, because that's all they are. It's just a story. Stories.
Justin, good episode, man. I like that. It helped me more than the audience, I think.
Well, I mean, we get a benefit from doing this too, right?
1,000%.
Yeah.
It's magic. All right. Where can somebody get a hold of you if they want to continue the convo?
Yeah. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Mindset Coach JT, JustinThorstad.com, or my cell phone, 602-348-8534.
Fire. All right, and do me a big favor. If you like what we're doing for you on a weekly basis, subscribe, like, and share. Send it out to somebody you think might benefit from this. This is a two-way street. I keep saying it all the time. If there's a specific topic that you want us to talk about or you want to kick back, I mean, put it out there, right? Drop it in the chat. Let's have a convo about it. Make sure you follow me on all social media at Rafael Cortez CEO, and then subscribe, like, and share to the CEO Pulse podcast. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, stay focused. You got this. Let's go. Bam.